Matthew, little fun fact that people might not know about you. You were a basketball player, played on the team in high school, true?
Yes.
What position did you play?
As you can tell, well, I guess I'm sitting down, so maybe you can't tell.
Yeah,
It
no.
was point guard.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Like, isn't that the person that like runs the whole like team and?
Yeah. I mean, I was responsible for a lot of that when I was playing basketball, but it ended up not being for me. I quit. I don't like this enough to work this hard and lose this bad. You know. Like,
All right. So really, the only shot that counts in basketball that anybody cares about is the dunk.
That's
Could
true.
you ever at any time could you dunk a basketball?
Are you talking about on a 10-foot goal?
Yeah, 10-foot goal.
Then
you
that
can
would be
run.
a hard
you
no.
can run. You don't have to dribble.
No, that would
running
be a hard no. Yeah, I did touch rim on a 10-foot goal before. That's not
okay.
I don't know if I could still do that. We should try that. Let's go out. Let's go out in the parking lot and try that in a little bit.
That sounds like a good way to blow your knee out.
Yeah. That I've heard that happen sometimes when you play basketball.
What if I told
do
you?
that.
What if I told you that when I was in college, I dunked a basketball at our court?
I would ask you the same question that I asked you a few minutes ago or seconds ago. Are we talking about a regulation
10-foot goal? NBA style 10-foot
Yeah,
goal.
then I would quickly answer, absolutely not. I do not believe
You think a pastor would make a statement like that, and your first gut is, I don't believe you?
I do not believe that Philippians 4:13 applies to a less
I didn't need
than
Christ
average
to do it. I didn't need
athletic
Christ.
person.
You can do all things through Christ. I don't need Christ to dunk.
I think
What
your stature.
What would it take for you to believe me when I said I dunked a basketball in college?
With your stature, you would need Jesus, first off. And second off, what it would take is a video. I would have to, I could not, if someone else told me, like maybe one of your college roommates or buddies, I would believe it a little more, but I still wouldn't. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I would need to see proof.
So
no offense. It's not on you. Like,
no, none taken.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe a little, but
so you would, if you saw it, then you would believe me.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
If you got a video. Now that I know they didn't have phones back then when you were in college.
Wow.
Yeah, I need to see it.
So there's a common phrase. If you're having a hard time believing something that someone says, then you might say, well, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yep.
Interestingly enough, that is kind of the opposite approach that Jesus wants us to take in our prayers. I don't know if you've ever prayed something, but deep down in your mind, you're struggling with whether or not God would actually do this or not. And you might be saying, well, I'm going to pray and I'm going to ask, but I'm not going to get my hopes up. I'm not going to believe it until I actually see it. Well, there's a story that we read today in the content. I hope you're journeying along with us in the written content, that those fancy books that we passed out a few weeks ago. But the story is of a man that asked Jesus something, and Jesus told him that it happened. He prayed, voiced a request to Jesus, and Jesus said, all right, it's done. You can go home now. Instead of the man saying, I'll believe it when I see it, he looked at Jesus and said, all right, well, if you said it, then I believe it, even though I can't see it.
Right.
And the story says that he left, and the exact thing that Jesus said would happen, happened. And an incredible detail about that is, and I love that John included this in the story, is the man even asked, hey, real quick, what time of day did that happen? And they told him what time of day the miracle occurred the previous day. He looked back on his schedule and he said, that is the exact time that Jesus told me that it would happen. Now, he didn't know it because he wasn't there. He didn't see it. Like
right.
his answer to his prayer was in another town, in another time period.
Yeah.
But instead of saying, no, Jesus, you need to come with me, and because I'm not going to believe that you're true, that you're right, until I actually see the miracle take place, he left Jesus and said, hey, if you say it's done, then it's done. And he began to move forward. And the next day, he believed it before he saw it.
I think about the movie, the Christmas movie, right? I mean, we're a month removed from, almost a month removed from Christmas. And I think about the movie The Santa Claus. It's a great movie, and long story made very short, in that movie, there's some kids that have trouble believing whether or not this whole Santa Claus thing is real. And in the movie, one of the major lines is this: seeing is not believing, but believing is seeing. And that's what I think of every time I hear stuff like this. Like, it's the same idea of, as you believe, then you will see, not as you see, then you will believe. Because once you've seen it, it's not faith anymore. It's now built on, well, I saw it. And that's what Jesus says. At one point, he's praying for his disciples, and he says, not only these disciples who are in the room with him, but also those who will believe in me, though they have not seen me. And talking about the people that would come after the disciples, like you and I, and everybody, listening to the podcast. It's the same idea that these people don't just believe because they've seen, but they believe even though they have not yet seen. And so that's what this is about in John chapter 4, with this guy is in need of healing. His son is in need of healing. It's not just believing or seeing that leads to believing, but it's the believing that leads to the faith, the trust that leads to the seeing of that miracle, of that salvation from the disease that this guy had.
Yep. I wonder if you and I would pass the test today. I wonder if, when we're in the midst of the waiting room and we're praying and we're asking God, if God says, hey, you can trust me. I've got this. I've handled it. I've taken care of it already. I wonder if we could find the peace and the comfort in that statement and just believe. I wonder if our faith, that's the way Hebrews 12 describes faith and defines faith, things that are not yet seen. I wonder if God spoke to you in the midst of the waiting room, in the quiet time over these 21 days, and reassured you that he was in control, that he had a plan, that he was going to be faithful, that he was going to bring his plan and purpose to fruition in your life. I wonder if you and I would have the faith enough just to look at God and say, if you say so, then it's true. It's a done deal. This man prayed, spoke to Jesus, offered his request, and Jesus said, got it, it's done. And with a totally switched mindset, the man went home and walked in the door. He's just like, well, Jesus said he'd take care of it. God said he was going to look out for me. God said he'd provide. God said he would protect. God said he would make a way. And so now is the time where God tests our faith. Once we read a promise in Scripture of what he's going to do for us or how he's going to act within his character, it's our job at that moment to just believe and to trust. I hope you'll pass the test today here on the second week of our 21 days of prayer, finishing up this time together. Pass the test. I'm not asking you to see it and then believe it. I'm asking you for the ability to believe it even before you see it. That is what faith in prayer looks like for us.